There have been a few noises off lately and actually over the last 6 months or even a year about who Keir Starmer might be reshuffling in his top team. First of all, where are these briefings coming from? First of all, explain for our readers how this kind of thing works.
A good journalist would never reveal her sources. There have been reports consistently over the last 6 months. And I think, as with any party, there are factional tensions and a lot of people have an opinion on what they would like Keir Starmer to do at the next reshuffle. I think it's like a strength and a weakness of Keir Starmer's that he does not have a background in, what people inside the Labour Party would call the movement. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't very clearly come from one faction. So a lot of people spend some of their time trying to figure that out and trying to understand what his priorities might be, I think.
And try to co-opt him into their faction.
And some of these reports are clearly people around Keir Starmer trying to move him into a position and trying to, get their agenda in the news. But it's clear that there is going to be some kind of reshuffle in the next sort of few months. My best guess at that, and it is a guess, would be that these will take place after the by-elections, because that obviously gives him some time before conference to allow the people he's moved into positions to formulate something to say at conference, because that is potentially the most important one for them, because it's potentially the last before the next election.
Mm-hmm. It should also, if the by-elections go as planned, give him a bit of a boost to his authority to be able to make these kind of moves.
Yes, yeah. I think the other thing kind of going on is that obviously Rishi Sunak reordered Whitehall some months ago, and the current shadow cabinet as it stands doesn't directly mirror what's happening, doesn't shadow rather what's happening in government. So there are a couple of positions that it's some of the responsibilities that's not quite clear where they should go. Angela Rayner holds an awful lot of jobs, and there's some consensus around the idea that perhaps Angela's position could be changed in some way. That doesn't necessarily mean a big demotion or a big, change, but she's doing several different jobs at the moment, and whether that might change seems to be something that definitely could happen, I think.
Right, okay. So there's repeated reports that Lisa Nandy, for example, might lose the levelling up brief. Is that something that you guys are hearing?
It totally depends who you speak to within the party, and this is the thing, nobody can quite guess at Keir Starmer's mind, taking all of these different reports into account and all of the different things that you hear. One thing that you kind of do come away from it concluding is that if there's not going to be a reshuffle, that should have been shut down many months ago. Yeah. And perhaps even if there was going to be a reshuffle, and that should have been shut down many months ago, and the speculation should have been, stopped at one stage, because I think all of the different people within the Labour Party at the moment would agree that it has been destabilising to some extent.
Yeah, I think what most kind of lobby journalists will be familiar with, and people who work in Westminster around Labour, is that there is definitely a slight sense of anxiety going on, where people are just concerned about their job, concerned about other people's jobs. And, I think there's a sense that these people will want to be in place by conference, because that is when Labour will really be able to set out its stall publicly. And obviously we've also got Sue Gray taking up her job as Starmer's Chief of Staff, so there'll be relationships that need to be built there. So I think as we're kind of heading on and we're not really hearing much, it's just sort of getting more and more tense almost in Labour circles. So it'll be really interesting, and I think probably after the by-elections is the best bet.
These will be the jobs that these people have in government. So it's like there's so much competition and anxiety over them at the moment, because it means a lot. It's very, very different having a shadow cabinet post than it is actually being a cabinet minister. So yeah, everyone's trying to nail down their position, I think. And it depends who you speak to on any different week who's getting sacked. It feels like that scene in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels where they're like, can everyone please stop getting shot? It's like, can everyone please stop getting sacked? It's like, because it really does change quite often. And but he's got, like, Keir Starmer will have he has different parts of the party he'll need to keep happy. He can't, banish the soft left entirely, But whatever he chooses to do is kind of will tell you a lot about the narrative that he's going to take into government, what his judgment is, and a bit more about what his own politics are. Yeah. And really it's kind of quite telling that the people around him are not able to nail down for you what that is.
Yeah.
I think it's as well. It's interesting to know it's not just MPs; it's also their staff as well, who are all going to be thinking about what their next job is going to be, and are they going to, be a SPAD and all that kind of stuff. So there's just definitely a sense of anticipation, I would say, in Westminster at the minute.
Yeah, a lot of these people loyally sort of clinging to the Labour Party for a long time while it's been in the doldrums, finally having that little glimpse of
Daylight.
power. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching. We'd love to know what you think. Please make sure you leave your comments below. And if you enjoyed watching this podcast, you can watch more of our videos on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe.